From the kitchen of the cabin and around the world, this is Voices from the Solitude, a podcast about the coronavirus and gaming. Today, I talk about community. I vacillate. This is no great change for me, really. I've always been one of the more unstable compounds emotionally. I can flash like magnesium dropped in water, a white-hot rage over nothing, and then sit, inert like a lump of palladium, useless, trapped inside my own chemical makeup, offering nothing to the world. I can go from booze-filled hysterics to cold winter morning depression over the short course of a sleep. I'm difficult to know because I have no idea where I'll be in the next 5 minutes, what will trigger me into guffaws or bellows, snarls or smiles. So what chance does anyone else have? My friends are truly altruistic, and the fact they put up with me is a great testament to the huge act of charity they're performing, because when you strip all of the emotion out of the thing, when you look at it scientifically, I'm a bit of a prick. Strange thing is, though, for all of the emotional vacillation, the periods of frantic fear-soaked work and the moments of stagnation, dull-eyed staring out of windows, wondering what the world outside is like, for all of those times, in this situation, strangely, I'm good. In fact, better than I've been for a while. I feel unburdened of the need to achieve. Everyone is paralysed, and through that, I've managed to make things, to create things. I've been relieved of the need to show a face to the world, and so have stopped worrying so much about that face. I've realised that very simple thing. It's what writers will tell you. Ideas are nothing. Get out your pen and put it to the page. You cannot say you've written anything until you've written something. I haven't done this alone, though. If you hadn't already guessed, this piece is something of an appraisal of a short series of interviews I've undertaken in the last few weeks. I wanted to get some thoughts out of my own head about it, and what better use could I have for those thoughts but to inflict them on you? The thing that has really struck me throughout this crisis, and in the small amount of work I've done covering it, is how much we've been aching in the West for community. How much we've been aching to reach out across political affiliations and perceived societal roles and come together and share in our common humanity, to stand outside our doors and applaud those who work for us, and, if we're lucky, to steal a few words with our neighbour before we return to the bosom of our solitude. We crave that thing that we think we've lost. A world in which we say hello to our neighbours, and the barman knows what we want to drink before we've ordered it. We've shown each other that we cry out for community, and in my interviews I've come to see that in this small corner of the world that we call board games, we have one, and for all of its carbuncles and flaws, it's a beautiful one. We love a good moan. It's an eternal truth about humanity that we find it almost impossible to enjoy the present moment. All of the good bits of religion are about this. Gautama sat under that Bodhi tree for 7 weeks and didn't even touch a fig so he could unravel the greatest of human puzzles. How to feel content right now. I don't think he managed it. And neither have all of the snake oil purveyors that have followed, with their crosses and their pendants, their crescent moons and their paperbacks for $7.99. This is because they've missed the point. This living in the present thing is just not in us. It's only when something is locked in the hardened amber of memory or formulated by the sparkling unreality of expectation that we can truly appreciate something. While it's actually here, there's always something to moan about. Christ, do we love a good moan about the internet. We assume the internet is some great malign force, but it's just a tool. The internet isn't intrinsically malignant or glorious. It's how we corrupt or elevate it that matters. We don't attribute virtue or vice to a spanner, and we shouldn't with the internet. But look at what it's done for us in the past few weeks. It's enabled families to stay together. It has been a trove of self-improvement. It has been awash with the arts and the sciences. It has kept people in work and calmed people's anxieties. From virtual cocktail parties to board game websites, it has facilitated that thing we thought we had lost. It's put a shot in the arm for community. That's why I started this short series. I wanted to bring all facets of our small community to you. I wanted to gain information and insight, but also collate experience and story. I wanted to bring all kinds of people into your headphones or your Bluetooth speakers. I wanted to remind us that we're all part of this community. We've built it, and it's still there. I've never been one for groups, really. It all seemed a bit like mandated fun. That was until I found games. Gaming very quickly transcended the games. It became about the improvement felt from the people I met. I think of some of the friends I've made through gaming, and they are some of the most erudite and thoughtful people I've ever met. It must be to do with wanting to exercise the brain in recreation. These are people that think about things, that formulate and execute. Gamers are people who want to pull things apart and see how they work. They have something to say. I wanted to speak to people like Steve Cyrek, like Isaac Shalev, like Tony Boydell, Dan Hughes, Kathleen Mercury and Elizabeth Hargrave, because I knew they'd have something to say. And I knew that I could rely on them too, because that's the pact we've silently made when we've entered this community, that we can give back to it when we're asked to. Also, speaking to these people has stopped me from fading away. We wilt under the heat of solitude. Other people are the fresh spring water splashing on our roots that encourages us to rally. We have learnt to give too in this crisis, whether it be our time or money, our laughs or our commiserations. We've started to relearn the joy of giving. That's what community is all about. Think about starting something simply because you love it. Think about the eschewal of wealth to serve a weaker master, satisfaction. Think about insecurity and the possibility of being knocked down if the wind changes direction. All because you want to do something you love. In a world where we are encouraged to chase money, that is a brave and beautiful thing. That is what game shop owners are. They are brave and beautiful. They chase joy, not money, and that is wildly admirable. They cultivate too, for us, for community, simply by opening their space to us. Sure, there's some remuneration there, but we all have to eat. I didn't really realise this until I started doing these interviews, that with many game shop owners, their entire conception of themselves is wrapped up in the bricks and mortar of their shops. I didn't realise this until I heard Nick Smith of Ludaquist break down at the thought of losing his business. I realised that this is more than a job for these people, and if we value the community we've built, if we want it to continue, then it's incumbent upon us to keep these people going. Not through charity, but by helping them to continue to be who they are. People who live for the love of the thing, not the gain of the thing. When it comes down to it though, when I think about this series, it was not some great act of beneficence on my part. I did it for me. I did it to stop myself from falling into despair. I don't want to go there because I've been there. Engulfed in it, and it's a vile place to be. I've felt those rolling days of numbness punctuated by a squall of piercing agony, the agony of loss and solitude, and I didn't want this crisis to send me there again. So I reached out to our community, and they reached back. They took me by the hand and said, "We're here. Remember, all you have to do is reach out." This is what I've got from doing this series. This is what I want you all to take from it. That after the crisis is over and we slowly inch ourselves into the world again, that we can transform. That we're here for each other. And all we have to do is reach out. So thank you for listening. Thank you for all of your comments and all of your praise. Thank you all for making up this community that is so strong and so valuable and so life-affirming. I want to shake you by the hand, and this is my way of doing that. And I hope, very soon, I can see some of you, and see you smile, and hear you laugh. So until then, once again, thank you. If you want to support content like this, you can go to patreon.com/5G4D. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and if you can, stay at home.